Faces and skin are probably one of the first things that you will want to or need to paint on a miniature. I'm going to give you 5 options for how to paint faces and skin so that you can decide on how you would like to approach it. We'll start super basic and we'll get more complex as we progress. Let's go. Before we jump straight in, I have sprayed these faces with primer and I suggest you do the same with your face. Well, the face you're painting, I mean. This panel is one of Taro Modelmaker's practice panels and you can pick them up direct from his store, and I've linked that in the description. I'm also using my trusty Hawk Miniatures brush here, all but the washes where I use a Cryptic cabin larger brush. Both of those are also linked below. The principles applied here don't just apply to faces, of course, they will work with any skin areas. Maybe just keep the eyes to the face though, unless you want it to get a bit weird. Number 1, base coat and contrast. Okay, essentially tabletop standard. So we're starting with a light primer for the first one. It's the most simple approach and it requires 2 paints, your primer and a contrast paint. You prime in Wraithbone and then you slap on Citadel's contrast speed paint and that is it. Bear in mind, if you want to get to grips with painting, at some point you'll probably want to move away from using speed paints or washes in that way and build the tones with paint properly. But to get you on the tabletop, this is a banger. I've used Guilliman Flesh for a lighter skin tone and I used Cygor Brown for a darker skin tone. They're not the prettiest, but they're faces. They have definition, they have flesh colours, and they'll get you gaming in no time. In 2019, when they launched contrast paint, this is exactly what they did to demonstrate it, a face in basically seconds. Honestly, I think you can do better. Let's look at number 2, base coat and wash. Again, tabletop standard. This is a similar approach with a base coat and a wash. It's quick and it's an easy way to get a face done without worrying too much. The primer is black this time, so we need to do a couple of good layers of Cadian Flesh Tone over the top of that to get a strong base. After that, we can use Reichland Flesh Shade, which is a fleshy coloured wash to bring out the detail and a bit of contrast. For the darker skin tones, I'm using Leather Brown from AK Interactive, but of course everyone's skin is different, so pick a colour that works for you. There is not a one-size-fits-all. Here I'm doing a wash of Agrax Earthshade to darken the recesses. Again, this might not be the best, but it's got you onto the tabletop, and the same applies here in terms of using washes. It's not going to help you learn to paint well, but it'll get you some of the way. The next approach actually builds on this one. Number 3, base coat and wash with tidy up. This is, let's call it tabletop plus. Assuming you did the same as the previous stage with your base coats and a wash, you can now go back in and tidy up some areas to rebuild that flesh colour. Then, if you're feeling fancy and you want to go for the eyes and you have a steady hand and a good brush tip, you can give that a bash. For the eyes, I go for black first. This can be black paint or a black wash. After that, I put some white inside that black. Then an additional black or another dark colour for the iris. If you're feeling confident, you can add a tiny white dot for a little reflection. I did not do that on these since I was already working very small and was not feeling confident. 4, we've got base coat, layer and highlight. Let's call this one display standard. Our next approach is a slightly more traditional approach, using a dark base coat first, followed by layering up lighter tones as we work our way up towards where the light is coming from. For lighter skin, I use 3 paints here: Citadel's Bugman's Glow, Cadian Flesh Tone, and Kislev Flesh. Using them in that order, I start with a full coat of the face or the skin area, and then I work my way up, painting smaller and smaller areas as I get lighter. For darker skin, here I've used the Leather Brown, I've used 2 thin coats Wasteland Brown, and then I've used AK Interactive Tan Earth. Again, you can use colours that are suitable for the skin that you want to paint, just bear in mind that you want kind of 3 progressively lighter colours. Again, you can give the eyes a go here to finish the face. This is the first of our techniques that's aimed at those that are probably wanting to learn a little bit more about how to move towards painting at a higher level. There is likely too much of a jump between the colours that we've used here, which brings us on to technique number 5. This is base coat and building volumes. Let's call it display plus. This is similar to the previous approach, but what I do on the white skin is I add a 4th colour, in this case ivory. and then I add a 50-50 mix between each of the colours as I work my way up, and I thin that paint a little bit more, and that gives us a much smoother transition and smoother looking skin as you work your way up the tones. Again, you can do the eyes here, and then if you want to take this further, you can start introducing things like glazes for various areas. You can start modulating the colours for effects on the skin. You can go kind of blue around the eyes or red into the cheeks and all that sort of stuff. I had actually considered taking this a step even further and attempting a sort of competition type level approach, but I very quickly realised that I'd have to be a painter better than I am at the moment, and really you can watch someone like Darren Latham paint a face for that sort of skill. I will stick for now to helping the beginners. That said, this method is a good one to work on if you're looking to move towards being able to paint better. These principles apply to pretty much painting anything on the model. Thanks for checking the video out. If you need hobby help or advice, or you would like to share your work, feel free to join the Discord. You can also leave a comment below, or you can find me on Instagram at AlexPaintsTinyThings. All your likes and those free subscriptions are much appreciated. Until next time, cheerio.